Hello, everyone. Very good evening to all of you. Happy to connect with all of you on this very evening, the first day of our August month. And this is going to be an exciting session as we are working and learning on sensory education and Montessori, right? So, till the first and the second days of sensorial exercises, we understood the importance why sensory education was so important. And we would also discover in today's lesson the special way of learning with different other materials in our classes, right? So if you're new to the session, so my name is Divya and I would be your host and your course coordinator. And I can't wait to start my today's session with all of you. Okay, so we have many students over here. So can we quickly wave our hands and say hello to one another? Happy to connect. When you are ready, please on your videos and quickly say hello to your classmates. So today's
Hello.
session we have
Hello.
with us Rekha, we have Usha, we have Shefali, Priya, we have Lakshmi, Rupa, Madhuri, Hamsa, Shanta, Padma there, Revati, Rupam, Padmini, Kirtana. Then I
Good
have
evening, ma'am.
Rohita, Nalini, Sushma. Yeah, have I missed out anybody? Shweta and Lata there. Okay. So wonderful, wonderful evening to begin. And I have students who have joined me from the other time zones. So very good morning to you as well. Okay. So imagine you have a classroom where children can touch, children can see, children can feel, children can hear things. What do you think it's going to be like? How is that classroom going to be like? Very nice.
Very
Okay,
nice,
that's
ma'am.
a lovely answer. The class is going to be very nice,
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
right?
Yes.
So even you like it because you can actually go, you can engage in different kinds of activities and other things. See, first of all, it's more important is because we see children who come from different cultural backgrounds. We also see children engaging in different activities. And at the same time, when children do come in this particular younger generation, you would have noticed many things. What is that thing? They're addicted to screen time. We all agree on that. They're addicted to screen time most of the time. So
Yes,
what do we see on the screens? A lot of characters which are animated, right? So something which is flashy and very catchy music and other things. So that's the reason children are so attracted to it. And when they come to classes, there is a lot of transformational difference. The teachers are so boring. You are not flashy. You don't look that fancy. You're not characterized. You don't wear such fancy dresses. Your voice is not soothing. There's no musical background. Agree or not? We always do that, right? So when a child comes in a class, you will definitely have a difference between a child who is introduced to too much of screen time and the child who is not introduced to too much of screen time. If they are not introduced to too much of screen time, when a teacher is talking, when the teacher is engaging, the child understands it better. The child is able to perceive the information better. The child finds even the simplest thing what the teacher is showing them, even the letter A, very fascinated. They also write and they are very much showing. Now, in case if I have a student who's addicted to the screen, what do you think for them? They find it very boring, right? They don't want to do it. And that's the reason they lose focus in classes. That's one of the reasons that we always educate parents and teachers to limit the screen time for our children. So what do we do from now on? So screen time could be one of the possibility that the children are not giving a lot of concentration and focus in class. Is it a problem of a child? It's not a problem of a child. It's the problem of the way that we are parenting our children. Yes, we agree on that.
yes,
Agrees
ma'am.
and strongly agrees too. So I would be able to get the voting, right? So when you're with me, these would be some of the gestures that I would be able to connect with all of you when I put you back onto my gallery mode. Okay. So we work on that particular skill. So every time that we introduce sensory education, when the activities that you work with, or when your classroom has got many kinds of activities wherein the child is able to feel, touch, see, sometimes they become more engaging, right? For at least for now, for this generation children, this becomes even more better for all of us to actually work with. So we have that, right? So we're going to see in our sessions today, like how kids can have fun, kids can learn activities through senses. Kids will be able to differentiate between different kinds of learning aspects. Like, say, for example, in case if I give them a bowl full of objects, they would be able to give me the colors of it. They would be able to give me the sizes of it. They'll be able to touch and tell me the textures of it. How beautiful is that? In case if I have a bowl full of certain other objects wherein I'm asking them to smell, I'm asking them to taste, the child will be able to give that differences. Now, don't you think that this is also helping their brain to grow? Definitely, yes, right? In what way? In a healthier way. And at the same time, the teacher is putting them or a parent is putting them towards the learning aspect. So that is supposed to be very exciting. Okay, I see a lot of smiles now. Yeah, that's going to be there. So, as Montessorians and Montessori teachers, it's our responsibility to build a very strong foundation for learning. It is not only your task, you should also educate your class parents, wherein they would also contribute to the strong foundation of your children. Because at school, the child is there maximum for 2 to 3 hours with you, but at home, the child is there with the parent for another 20 hours or 21 hours, right? So they would be able to guide, they would be able to work with the children when it comes down to senses. For example, it could be like making a rule that whatever could be the possibility, 5 p.m., we always go out, we stand in the balcony, we watch something. If the parent has made such a rule, the child likes it, the child doesn't like it, it should not matter. You have to take the child, stand there for 5 minutes. Tomorrow you tell, okay, 5:30 we are going to the ground floor, we're going to take a walk and come back. The child likes it, the child does not like it, you have to do that. When there is some kind of a connection between the nature, that's when the child will get the experience towards the sensory education. What we do, 5:30 we are exhausted by the end of the day, even we give them the devices, and the child is busy watching something, the parents are busy watching or doing certain other household chores. Yes, it is also our responsibility. Why I'm telling you this is like we don't have a community where children do have an exposure to go and socialize with others. Again, when we talk about play, is it a play? Yes, it's kind of a play. The child is on looking onto many objects. The child is observing the sound, the child is feeling the air, the child is feeling the temperatures outside. Then when the child is walking, the child is getting involved to the movement, they know about the control and coordination of their hand and the leg muscles, right? So all these things becomes very essential for us to actually work. When the kids use most of their senses during their day to day activities, they become better when it comes down to thinking. They also become better when it comes down to talking, because when we are walking, we don't just walk like that, right? We will also keep talking to the child. The child knows to observe different things. And when they're able to think and talk, what do you think? They're able to solve certain problems. That is also there. So this is all related to something called as our mind, right? So we are connecting everything to our mind. So it's like a magic to our mind. So that's the reason people say when you're stressed, what you should do? Should go for a walk or you run. Not sit at home and crib that I'm stressed, I'm stressed. When you're angry, go outside or take deep breaths, right? So people say that because the nature can actually calm you. So all those things are your mind games that you can actually give, and that's going to create an amazing magic for all our children. Okay, so what again, you can also work on animated graphics here. Why do you have to give all this to children? You need to dramatize, right? So if you tell that in the layman words, the child might not be able to understand all of that. So that's when we put them onto animated graphics, because they understand it even more better. We can say, children, our brains are like superheroes. What do we say, children? Our brains are
Like superheroes.
superheroes, and they understand superheroes. Children understand superheroes, right? Because they have all that magical powers and other things. And we also tell them they're superheroes when they're too young. They can do anything and everything when they're young. Why? Because our sensory education develops, or our sensory education helps our brains to become stronger when we are between 0 to 6 years. Anything that you introduce in a rightful way, right from language, grace, courtesy, sensory education, morals, values, languages, logical skills, mathematics, anything, you name it, the child is able to absorb. That's the reason we call the children as absorbent minds. Anything that you do, they would just soak in, right? They're just like sponges. They can soak anything. Now it is you, parents and teachers, it's your responsibility what the child should soak. Anything good, anything bad. That liquid is you. If you give everything in the right way, the child takes in everything the right way. Right? So this is something that we do. We dramatize. We say you're superheroes, and that's the reason your minds have special powers. And that's the reason you are able to understand things better. When you give them these, we also start seeing on the relevance. Even the scientific studies have told the amazing learnings of whatever we have it because of our brain development, because the way that our neurons are getting connected and all of that. So that is when you start collaborating activities and you engage the children in the school activities also. So what do we do at school then? You don't work alone, right? So you work as a team. You, your child, your student, along with the parent, you work as a team. You ask the children to cooperate, right? So they have to cooperate. So what can the mother or the father tell? They can say that you go to school, you will find your teacher there. So they can actually say you will go to school and you will have Shweta ma'am there, you will have Priya ma'am there, you will have Usha ma'am there. The parent has already helped the child to cooperate. This has to be the first step. This has to be one of the educative period that we work when we are giving on the transition. So whenever you want the children to be engaged in collaborative activities, it doesn't start at school. It always has to start at home. So if there are any young parents watching this live after I share the recording, okay, don't put everything onto schools. Everything has to start from home, right? Especially behavior, especially giving them values and models, how to behave in a community. All of that has to start from home. Now, again, when they're throwing tantrums, you can just ignore. Okay, for example, if you're in a supermarket, if you ask a child to buy one lollipop and the child wants three lollipops, the mother or the father says no. What do you think that the child can do? Can throw up tantrums. They might roll on the floor, they might cry, they might shout. Just ignore. Say, I'm going outside now, you do that and come. You know what happened when my son was very young? He had the habit of picking some of the chocolates and other things. Only during the billing counter, he used to put everything onto the cart. One day it was okay. The second day we said, you picked it up, so you pay and come back. We left. He waited, and that person did not leave him. And he said, I don't have money. So he kept and he came back. So what that gave the child, that if you don't have money, you don't have the independence to choose what it is. So either we write at home and come. And again, parents and teachers, you have to also tell children to make a list. That's when the child will know the differences about, is it a need or is it my wish? Always put them onto that differences. Do I need it or is it just my wish? I want a pencil box, but we already have it. It's a wish, so let's buy it for the next birthday. You can always postpone it and put it into the bucket list for children. So all that cooperation activities comes from home. And whenever we have teachers, we can always put this into orientational programs. The cooperation has to come from home. When the child starts learning about these collaborative activities, that's the first step. The second thing, what we have to educate children is all about sharing. To share toys, they need to share something. So that gives a lot of patience for our children to actually be in the classes. And at the same time, you need to also help them to make new friends. This is very important. So when you're going for a walk, if you find another child, the parent can encourage, oh, see, that's a boy, say hi to him. You can always start introducing. When you smile, the child finds it okay, I have to be there. I have to do this under the guidance of a parent. So that's how you will also help the child to make new friends. So when you're building a very caring and a friendly community in your classroom, All these three things are very, very essential. Okay, so you don't have to just take word by word, no, because all of you are very confident, you're very excited to learn. See what works for you in your classes and let the children grow like superheroes and let them shine. Okay, so don't put too much of a pressure. Okay, so sometimes what happens when the child is too addicted, as I said, to the screen, even in the classes, when you pressurize them so much, they get irritated. They don't like to come to school. So that then is what you have to find out the root cause. Maybe there's something too much. Even the child would be in the playful mode. He might be thinking only about his toys because there's overindulgence of something, and that becomes a negligent cause for certain things. So that is where you will have to take help from parents. Let them start cutting down those activities, and slowly you will find that there would be a little differences. Okay, so children would learn at their own pace. Not every child is same, so you can work on that. So mostly, when you work with the child psychology and other thing, they just ask you to go a little slower. Will not be able to pressurize anything because the child will eventually pick. Okay, so eventually pick. This is somebody else's problem with the child is actually paying off for. Okay, now coming down to the materials. Yes, materials will be a special treat for all of us in a Montessori class. So we're going to be taking the help of all these Montessori materials, and we're going to be working with them. Okay, so they are like treasure boxes to open up our new world for knowledge, I could say. So just to summarize on this, today's day 3, and so far it's been a fantastic way of learning through our senses. We are helping our children to develop their brains. I hope so. Okay. And we are helping them to learn as we teach the work, whatever we have learned together. And I know many of the students and teachers have already implemented those exercises at home. They've also put that into their classes also. I got a lot of videos. They shared those videos with me. This is how I'm working with that. Is it correct or not? I'm very, very happy to know that you have taken one step. Okay, so one step further, and you're doing that amazingly in your classes. Okay, so thank you again, once again, for joining on today's session, day 3 on sensory education. Okay, so if you are new to the class, please get back to me after the session. So I'll be sharing a lot of inputs about the training course and all of that. Okay. So coming back to our yesterday's lessons, we started with our color tablet. So this was our color tablet 1. So I'm going to be spotlighting that so that we would be able to work on it. So we started with what? We started with our color box tablet. We saw in color box, we had 3 boxes, box 1, box 2, and box 3. Box 1 was onto our primary colors, box 2 was secondary, and box 3 is going to be our tertiary colors, which had the combinations of all. Once we completed that, we got into geometry cabinet tray. So this is where we had, it was a chest of drawer, and we saw like how each of the drawer had different insets which the child could actually work on. Drawer 1 had all the different circles. Drawer 2 had a square and a rectangle. Drawer 3 had my triangles. Again, we saw about 6 different triangles. Drawer 4 had all polygons. Drawer 5 had quadrilaterals. Draw 6 had all the curved figures. And then we also supplemented that with a card set, right? So we had again sets which had completely filled in, the sets which had thick outline, and the sets which had thin outline. So
Ma'am, can you repeat one more time?
this is yesterday's.
Yeah,
This is
yesterday, one more time I want to see, ma'am.
okay. So you have, I think you have your notes.
Yes, it is there, but I got little confusion.
Okay. So where's the confusion? Which one is the confusion?
This one, primary presentation tray, one more time.
Presentation tray.
Yeah, yeah.
Geometry cabinet tray, you mean to say?
Yeah, yes, 1 minute. Circle, okay. Continue, ma'am.
Okay, draw 2. See, draw 1 is circle. Draw 2 is square and rectangles.
Okay.
You'll have 1 square and 5 rectangles. Okay.
5 1 minute, 1 minute. 5 rectangles. Okay, ma'am. Continue.
Yes. So your draw 3 has all triangles, Rekha. We
Yes,
have
ma'am.
seen different triangles, right? Equilateral,
Yeah.
acute angle, obtuse, right angles, and all of that. And then
Yes.
your draw 4
Hmm.
will have completely on polygons. Polygon
Oh,
is any of the shape which has more than 4 sides.
4 cells.
pentagon, hexagon, heptagon, all of that. Then
Okay.
in draw 5 has quadrilaterals. Quadrilateral is anything that has 4 sides: rhombus, parallelogram, trapezoid, and all.
Oh,
Draw
left or
6 had,
quadrant. Okay.
yeah, draw 6 had all the curved figures. Draw 6 had curved figures. Then we move to the next experiment, which spoke about constructive triangles. We spoke about constructive triangles. We saw like how we could make uh, different shapes out of different triangles. And we also saw a template wherein you have to be writing some of the exercises in this way, wherein you would put your name of the experiment, materials required, purpose, presentation, error of control, and age. So this was one of our template that what we had to be working on. So today's class, we're going to continue further with the other materials. So please note down the next material that we're going to be taking for today. It's, yeah, please note down the next material for today's session. Sensorial exercise. As soon as you finish your constructive, it's called the sensorial deconomial squares. Deconomial squares. Okay. So, yeah. So here what we would be working over here is like, there would be 10 squares and each of the square will start increasing in size. Okay. So we're going to be talking about the squares here. And the squares will start increasing in what? They increase in the size. And how do they increase in size? From 1 centimeter square to 10 centimeter square. So what do I mean by that? This is my first square. So this is my second square. This is my third square. Okay, like that I would continue till my 10 square, wherein I would have 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter, 2 centimeter, 2, 3 centimeter, 3. You're able to get me? Okay. Now this is my first prerequisite. And again, I have to be having each squares. Each of these 10 squares will also be in different colors. Now, why do I do this exercise? Is because I want the child to understand on the construction. So I want the child to build squares and I want the child to build rectangles. Just because of this purpose, I am actually working on this particular material. Okay. Now, what do we do here? What's the direct purpose? I want the children to build a square. Okay, so shall we build a square? We're using these pieces. Can we still build a square? Definitely, yes. So let's take a look of how do we build a square using our deconomial square. Okay, please take a look through. So this is our, what was the last one? Constructive triangles, no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let me share you the exercise. So just imagine we are trying to, what? Construct a square here, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So are you able to see?
No, ma'am.
No?
No, ma'am.
Are you able to see now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So this is our material. So I want you everybody to take a look through. So this is how the material would be. They come with different squares. And this is one of the geometric material for me. I would use pieces of squares and rectangles to make a square. Okay, so I will have pieces of squares and rectangles, but towards the end, I will have to be making my square out of it. This is my smallest piece. Now the green, I do have one square, but do you see that we also have pieces of rectangle here? Yes, but when I join all of them together, don't I get a square again here? So this material is something where using the pieces of squares and rectangles, I should be able to construct a square. Okay, I should be able to construct a square. Can I construct a square using this? Definitely yes. I'm trying to make a bigger square here. Now, what is the measurement here? It is 3 by 3. 3 centimeter by 3 centimeter. Now, if I take my fourth one, I have to only keep adding. I have to keep my square to grow larger in size. When I pick the fourth color, so my square becomes what? 4 by 4. Are you observing the notation? Where do we start? The largest one. That is the square of the piece. You always keep it towards the edge so that, the square can continue. Easy, everybody? Are you getting me? Class?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is your, what's the measurement of that? 4 by 4?
4 by 4.
4 centimeter into 4 centimeter. Now I pick up the piece of my blue. So that's my 5 centimeter square. We continue the same for all our pieces. And now what's my largest square that I get out of all this construction? 10 centimeter into 10
10
centimeter. So this is a wonderful exercise for the children to understand the discrimination of sizes, to understand the discrimination of shapes, like how different pieces, when they come together, we can make up a particular shape altogether. Okay. This is my decanomial square. Easy? Yes. So what's the purpose of doing this exercise? Because I want to prepare my child for mathematics. I'm helping them to work on squaring concept. Okay, so is there any language? I'm not concentrating anything on the language here, but yes, definitely for my math conceptuals is what I'm trying to work on it. Okay, next one we work is on binomial cube.
Excuse
Okay,
me, ma'am.
so, yes.
So in which age do we introduce this one?
Decanomial, you mean to say maybe four and a
Yes, ma'am,
half, 5
decanomial.
years? Yeah, 4.5,
5
5 years.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go to the next material. Please note down, it's binomial cube. Binomial cube. See, all these are visual sense materials only. Okay. Now, whenever, okay, so this is again one of the educational material which we use it in our math, and we can also put that under a sensorial material also, because when you want to introduce a concept in algebra, okay, we use binomial cubes, we use trinomial cubes. Now, binomial cube is one of the essential component of our sensory education because it helps me to, what I could say, it, how do I put it? See, whenever we have these 3D shapes, right? So whenever we have these 3D shapes, when they're coming together, they do have some of these spatial relationships when we put it into a conceptual of algebra and other things. Like say, for example, when I talk about a plus b the whole square, what do you mean by that? In case if you're an algebra student, you should be able to tell me not the formula, but what does that actually mean? So a can be one thing, it's a square, right? So when I have a square, so I can take a cube here. So this can be my a, something can be my b, right? So when I'm squaring that particular concept, it becomes my a square plus b square plus 2ab, right? So we're not getting into the derivation of the formula, but this binomial and trinomial cubes will give you an understanding, or it helps the child to develop an ability to understand the three-dimensional shapes, the spatial relationships with all of them and all of that. Okay. So yeah, so I'm not a math student, so I don't know how do we derive.
Maybe, ma'am,
Yes.
maybe it is called as coordinates, x coordinate, y.
Yes. Coordinates also you can give. Yeah, you can teach. Many things you can actually teach, but not with the binomial cube. Okay. So coming to the material itself, it has 8. Please note down, it has 8 blocks. When I say blocks, these blocks are nothing but cubes only. So 8 cubes it will have. Now they vary in size. They vary. Okay. They vary in size and they also vary in color. Okay, so when I talk about my color, they're either red or black. I do have red, I do have black. Okay, so this is what we actually have to be working on. So that means when I have a block, what do I mean by block? You will be able to see, we will be constructing some blocks. Each block will be composed with 2 cubes and it will have 3 prisms. Okay, these 2 cubes and 3 prisms, they fit together to form a 3-dimensional cube. Okay, now you're able to understand. So how many components will be there? How do we fit each of those particular boxes is something that we're going to be seeing. When I show you the demo, it becomes more easy for you to actually work on. So what is your duty? You have to help the child while you demonstrate, you show them the trick how to assemble all these cubes and prisms, okay, in the block to form a cube. Okay, so when we do this, are we also giving them an awareness of spatial awareness, where to keep, how to keep? Yes, and the child is also able to differentiate visually. What is the color of a cube? What is the color of the prism? Is it a cube? Is it a prism? If you do a little mismatch also, you will not be able to make a cube. Okay, so again, you have to have a lot of patience because not many children will logically think. Now, these games need a lot of logical ability for a child because they are exploring, they are manipulating with the blocks, they're putting them in the right particular way, right? So all these things will be there. If they're not able to do that, definitely, yes, they might go wrong. Okay, so that's going to be one of our next material. It's called the binomial cube, one of the most good, or I could say the tricky materials in sensorial exercises. So this is binomial and you would be able to see this is how it actually looks like. Okay, so when I open it, when I get this box, I can either be seated on my table and chair or I can be here. Now, can you tell me what are the colors here? Oh, I only mentioned 2 colors, so sorry. There are 3 colors, red, black, and
Black,
blue.
blue.
So there are 3 colors. Now, can you tell me what are the shapes here? So 2 cubes I will have. What is a prism? Rectangular. I think you also call it a cuboid, right? So that's my prism, a rectangular prism. Okay. A square prism is a cube, a rectangular prism. Okay. So this is my rectangular. So rectangles are in color what? Black. Squares are in color what? I have a red and blue. Do you see both red and blue? They are squares. Blacks are my prisms. So I have 2 cubes and I would also have my prisms, correct? So what is the first thing that I have to do when I open this down? I would have different cubes and prisms, correct? So I would have the cubes separated and they're all color coded. I see they are varying in sizes also. Some of them are tiny, some of them are large comparatively, right? Did you see the second layer is coming out now? So that's a second block. So we segregate that and we keep it. The rule, what you need to work over here, the first rule for all of you is to sort based on colors. Everything that is blue, everything that is red. So blue is always combined on the other sides with black. Red is always combined on the other sides with black. So either you will have a combination of blue black or red black. Clear? Clear, clear? Everybody? Yes, no, please answer.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
now we are going to be
Yes,
seeing
ma'am.
this. The first one, which is completely red on all the 4 sides. Can you see? It's completely red. Even when you tilt it, it's completely red, all the sides. So that
Yes,
goes on this. Now there is red color where she's touching the block. Now what is the base color? Black color.
Ma'am.
Red touching red and black touching black. So what is the color that I have to choose over here? Something from
Red.
here, the red and the black. So red would touch the red surface,
Red.
the black would touch the black surface. Now again a red and a black. A red and the black. Definitely red and the black. So red would touch red and the black would touch black. The next one, I have a blue surface.
Blue and
Look at the other side. It's black and black, right? So blue has to touch black. So from where should I pick? The blue. The black is touching the other side of black. This side of black is touching the other side. This completes my block. This completes my block. Initially, when you see here, I said we are going to be working in blocks, right? So I said here, this block has to be fitted with a cube and prisms, correct? So 1 cube and 3 prisms. So the first one was a red cube, first prism, second prism. So we could make 1 cube out of that. Now that will go back. Okay, so that will go back. So this is my first one. So the first block is completed for me. So I transfer it back. Okay, so what do? I transfer the blocks back over here. Now I start constructing my second block. For second block, which is that color which has everything on the same color? The first one, it was red. Now we have to start looking for blue. So I take my blue. So I start over here. Now we do the same drill. Blue touching black. Blue touching black. Yes, this is blue and that's black. So I would put here. Then on the other side, again, I have a black base and a blue color, a black and a blue. Okay, so I would be putting this. What's the last one? A red base touching the black. So a red base touching my black. Clear, everyone? So this completes my block 2. What did I make? I made a cube out of that. Correct? So I'm going to be transferring that block, cubes and prisms. So this is my exercise. So you close down the box and then you would close that material. So that completes your binomial cube. Why do we do this exercise?
To get child's ability.
Yes, because you want to
Visually.
prepare the child for
Hand and eye coordination.
hand and eye coordination. You're preparing them for
Visual
mathematics, right? So you're helping the child to
shapes
work
and
on
color.
yes, so all that.
That
So maybe you can
analysis.
analysis, yes, many things would be there, right? So it's not for preschoolers. We usually don't introduce this for preschoolers. But in case of the child is wanting to work on this, construct prisms, construct the cubes out of it, we go. But we don't derive the formulae and show them that this is the introduction to algebra. Children, I'm preparing you for the proof of the formula A plus B the whole cube. I don't go into detail and tell them how. That is all the elementary rule, which you teachers also need not worry about introducing these conceptions to our little ones. Okay, so that's binomial cube. Supportingly to that, we also have something called as trinomial cube. Okay, so everybody note down, how do you introduce trinomial cube in Montessori? So you can write down the next exercise, trinomial. T-R-I, trinomial cube.
NOMIAL.
Trinomial cube. Okay, so trinomial cube is your next material. Now, this is also one of the fascinating material. Why? Because I'm introducing mathematical concept for my child. I want them to work on visual discrimination. I want to help the child to work on developmental of spatial awareness, all of that. We saw binomial cube, but this exercise is a progression from binomial cube and it is further designed to challenge and stimulate a child's mind. That itself was tricky. Now you're challenging more. You're giving one more parameter, right? So your trinomial cube will have 27 wooden cubes. How many was binomial? Binomial had how many? Remember? Just now I said.
8. 8 block, 8.
Yes, binomial has 8. Trinomial has 27 wooden cubes. So what am I representing? What do you mean by it's a cube root of a trinomial? That means whenever in my algebra, in my elementary, what is elementary? After fifth standard. Okay, so child is introduced to algebra after fifth standard. So that's when in my elementary, when I introduce a cube root of a trinomial, I introduce this conception. Okay, so what do we do here? We are not getting into the algebraic formulae for now, but as a cube root, we need to present a trinomial cube for a child. So we're going to only help the child how to arrange the blocks. We are only encouraging the child to explore and manipulate the cubes. Okay, but we are not working in finding out what is a specific pattern, what is the relationship between the different blocks. We don't want to do all of that. Okay, so we're just reinforcing the understanding that when you have a three-dimensional space, let the child understand how they have to construct and let them arrange accordingly, unconsciously. Okay, so yes, so just like binomial cube, trinomial is also a self-correcting material. If you do wrong, it will tell you that you have done wrong. So how does the material look like? What are the different things? So we had in binomial what colors? Red, blue, and black. Correct? Now we will also add to another color, and that becomes your yellow.
Hello.
Okay. So what are the colors that we would introduce here? We would have red,
Blue.
blue, and yellow.
Yellow.
So these three will be the cubes. These three will be the cubes. So that means they are complete cubes. So all the surfaces are red, blue, and yellow. So this is the first thing that you need to figure out. After that, you will have 3 red and black blue cubes. Write down. I will write only notations, okay? So you will have 3 red and black. What cubes? Blue cubes. Now they will have same height. They will have same height. Next, you will have 3 red and black. This is black, okay? Of yellow color. Okay, they will be yellow cubes. Again, they will also have same height. Okay. Then I would have 3 more. My yellow and black, they would be same height, but they are red cubes. So I got that. 3 cubes of red, 3 cubes of yellow, red and black, yellow and black. Okay. Next, I would have 3 yellow and black, same height as the blue cube. Again, 3 blue and black, same height as the yellow cube. 3 blue and black, same as the red prism. Okay, so this is what you need to be learning about. Okay, so I will not give you details about what is a material, how would you write it. When I show you, you should be able to figure out the differences between all of that. Okay, now apart from that, you will also have 6 black rectangular prisms. Okay, 3 wooden cubes will be there, red, blue, and yellow. We will sort all of them first. Okay, so be ready to sort it out. So this is your next material, and that's called your trinomial cube. Ready, everybody? Okay, so let me quickly give you the learning about this material. So here we go. This is how our material looks like. This is our trinomial cube. Again, this is the visual sense geometric material. Again, it is also related to chromic sense because we are working with colors here. Why again visual sense? Because we are working with sizes. Correct? Now, can you see there are 3 colors? So 3 important cubes I have it. How many blocks we are going to create? 3 blocks. The first block with the red cube, second block with the blue cube, third block with the yellow cube. What is my first step that I have to do? I have to be sorting based on colors. Sorting based on colors. Anything that is related to my yellow, I will have to be sorting. Okay, so this is all my level 1. So blue, I would keep it here. So help the child to sort. Now that's completely black. You would also have prisms that is completely black also. Okay, so what is my sorting? So I would have how many? I would have a yellow-black combination, blue-black combination, red-black combination, and completely black. Okay, so then I would have three extra cubes, which is yellow, blue, and red. My first level of my block goes with my red. I follow the same drill, red touching black. It has to be of the same height. Correct? So we follow the same drill. We work on the same exercise. So again, I do a red with a black. Now again, it's black, red with my black. I got to figure that out. So that's my red with my black. Then it's my black and black or red and black. So I have to be putting that down. Next is my blue and black. So what's the challenge for you? Now it might look everything is same. But when you're experiencing in this material, even the height will change. The height might also change here. See, they're all of the same heights. This is a complete black prism. So I put that here, a blue and a black or a complete black, black touching black. So I have to use that. Yellow touching black. So that completes my block 1. So what do? We transfer it. Now I start with my blue, a complete blue. Then I do the same drill for it. And then I would be able to transfer this block 2. Clear? Yes. Next would be my block 3. I begin with my yellow cube here. Then I start putting all my prisms which is next to it. A yellow and a black. I choose that. Then comes again a yellow and a black. I put that. So blue and a black, blue and this. And then towards the end, black and red. So you put all of them black. So you have 3 blocks in trinomial cubes. So you put back this, you close up the material, and you tell to the children what is the purpose of doing this exercise. Okay, now you tell me, why should we do this exercise? Now you got a lot of answers. Why should I be doing this exercise?
Visual discrimination.
Concentration, ma'am.
Concentration, yes. Children are building a big cube, right? They really constructed a bigger cube from the smallest pieces of cubes and prisms. How a child could construct a big cube, like how we had it in decanomial squares, the first
आप
material
इधर
that
बैठ जाओ तो
like
एक
from the
सेकंड
pieces
टेक्नोलॉजी
of
आयरन करेगी
squares,
बेटा
and rectangles, how children could actually make up a big square. That was decanomial. It was 2D. Now binomial and trinomial, they are 3D. Right? With the combination of cubes and prisms, how you could make a bigger cube. With binomial, we could make only 2 cubes, 2 level blocks. With trinomial, we could actually make 3 blocks. So that was slightly big enough for all of us to actually work with. So that's again your visual sense material that we had to be working with children. The last one in our visual sense, note down the next material. And I forgot to tell you about the age. What could be the age that we can give this? Maybe like 4 years, 4.5 years?
4.5
4.5 years. Where can the child go wrong here? Where can a child go wrong?
By placing the cubes.
By placing the height is not proper. If you did not introduce, see, you can always work. If you wouldn't have introduced to the child the sorting, how we sorted at the beginning. If we don't introduce sorting, it becomes very difficult for a child to pick what it is. The first step when you're introducing the material itself, you have to introduce in a sorted way. That's when the child will get it. So you can also see in your Saturday session, this Saturday, the first Saturday of August, offline students, when you're coming back to our center, when you sit with those materials, you will be able to see yourself. If you don't start sorting, you will struggle, you will take more time. But when you sort it, you will take hardly like 2 minutes, 3 minutes to complete this exercise. Okay, so that could be your error of material, the box itself, the blocks itself, because you did not introduce arrangements for children. Okay, so let's go to the next one. It's called the leaf cabinet in Montessori. Please note down, everybody, a leaf cabinet. Now, why do you think we need to introduce leaf cabinet in Montessori? What does the name indicate? What does the name indicate?
Shape, ma'am?
Shape of
The
what?
shape of leaf. Leaf.
Shape of leaf, yes. So we might be learning about the shape of leaves. Definitely, yes.
Colors.
Colors, yeah. Color, yes.
Size.
Size. Size.
Color, size,
Structure.
Storage.
Structure.
Different
structure of the leaf, okay.
patterns.
And texture of leaf.
Texture of leaf, yes. Texture of the leaves we will be able to introduce.
Different patterns of leaf.
Different patterns, different shapes. Somebody said about the shape, I can actually take that. Okay, so in Montessori, we use a leaf cabinet. I'm just muting the students. Yeah. So here in our class, what we do here is like we use the leaf cabinet. Why? Because you want to help the child to connect with the nature, right? I told you every evening 5:30 after the class, take your children for a walk. When you go on a nature walk, what is the first thing that you would come to notice? There are a lot of trees, there are a lot of plants, right? So you'll be able to see that. So when you observe something, talk to your child and ask them, look at the leaves there. When you start communicating in those terms, what happens? Indirectly, you're helping the child to connect with the natural world. And you're appreciating the beauty that is there around, because these days we forget about all that appreciation and we only talk about complaints. Look at the pothole, look at this road, look at this, look at that. But there's so many things which are so beautiful. Okay, so when you start working on appreciating the diversity of what we have around us, trees and plants and leaves will also be one amongst them. So our today's topic, when we do leaf cabinet, is only to observe leaves. Wherever you go, the child will have to observe leaves. Okay. So this leaf cabinet typically contains multiple drawers. Just like how we had our geometric cabinet, you remember?
Yes, ma'am.
Similarly, the leaf cabinet will also have different drawers. And when I open any of the drawer, it will have a collection of different kinds of leaves. Now, is it the real leaves? No.
No.
They're all these like how those insects will be there, no? Different kinds of leaves. Now, say for example, if you don't have this leaf cabinet, the teacher can actually do a DIY kind of a thing, right? So she can ask the children to bring some leaves on that day, or she goes on a nature hunt and she brings a lot of leaves, and as a surprise thing she'll ask the children to open the drawer. What do you think that the child will be surprised at? The children will be like, oh ma'am, that's a wonderful collection of leaves. Now the leaf can be fresh leaf, it can be a preserved leaf, it can be a dried leaf. Agree?
Yes, ma'am.
The leaf can be different sizes, it can be different shapes, sizes, textures, patterns. Agree? And the leaf can also have something very specific. What is that? The name. Can I say, oh, that's a pine leaf, that's an oak leaf, that's a mulberry leaf, right? So you will also be able to give the name of a particular plant when you see the leaf itself. Why? It could be because of the smell also sometimes.
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
you're able to see, or it is because of their unique shape or the color or the texture, correct? So we're going to explore through all of these through the journey of exploration when we work on a leaf cabinet. So what children are generally encouraged in our classes is they go there, they open the drawer of this leaf cabinet, they take out leaf one by one, They bring a fresh leaf. They examine to what pattern does it match. And if they're able to see that, yes, the child is able to see the artificial inset and the real leaf. The child is able to touch that leaf. They're able to feel the texture. They're able to also observe that intricate, what do you call these as? What are these called as? Can somebody tell me that weaning patterns that you get, right? On the leaf?
Yes, sir.
Yes, that patterns are also different. Every leaf has a different pattern, right? So they're able to also observe that pattern. And at the same time, the child also gives me the grades of the leaf. What do you mean by grading of the leaf? Color. Ma'am, this is dark green. Ma'am, this is light green. Ma'am, this is the darkest green leaf that I saw today. And what can all be the colors of leaves? I can have green, I can have red, I can have yellow, autumn leaves. I can have brown, many leaves, correct? So what am I teaching in my class? Is my leaf cabinet serving me the purpose of education here? Am I doing education? Definitely yes, correct? Yeah, we're working through the sensorial activity wherein I'm interacting with what? The leaves. I'm interacting, I'm making the child interact with the leaf. Why? Because I want the child to refine their senses. I want them to see the visual differences. I want them to touch so that they get that tactile perception. I want them to appreciate the subtleness of the leaf. When you hold it very tightly, it can tear, it can break. Agree? It can shrink the leaves. So you need to be very subtle when you're actually working, when you're touching a leaf. That gentleness has to be given. When you give all of that, you start appreciating leaves over here. Now, don't you think that I'm able to connect very well with the nature? And then I bring back a plant into my class. That's when I'm inviting the nature indoors. Don't you think now I'm giving a deeper connection? So if you see in your botany classes, there would definitely be a plant in that area because you want them to work that, that's a living life, and plants are the real examples, right? So we need to keep them. So I bring a plant and keep it next to my leaf cabinet. I can have more plants also in the same cabinet because every time that the child takes in, the child will be able to link with all of that. What happens? I created a connectivity with what I have in my class to the natural world. I'm also inculcating a curiosity about the environment. I'm asking the child to water the plant every day, observe how the leaves are growing, how the plant is growing. In case if the leaf is becoming dry, what could have been the problem over here? Right? So we are also working towards language here. I'm giving them new words, parts of a plant. Okay, when the plant grows and they have space, they become tree. I'm giving them the expansion towards language skills. I'm asking them to communicate better. Okay, now the child is able to work on the scientific inquiry. Ma'am, the plant is not growing. Ma'am, look at the leaf, it's become dry. The color is changing. So they are able to investigate the characteristics why it is becoming. They're able to compare, they're able to contrast between the different types of leaves that you actually have it. Agree? Yes? So, this is one part. To make it even more engaging, I can also use the same thing in my art and craft also. How do I use it in my art and craft? I'm going to show you an experiment wherein we're going to be working with all these exercises. Okay. So, how do I work? Let me quickly share that screen with you. So this is called your geometric leaf cabinet.
Dino? 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 ಅಜ್ಜಿ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮನೇಲಿ ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ಇಷ್ಟೊತ್ತು ಮಾಡ್ರೈತೆ.
Gentle reminder to mute when we're having a personal conversation. Okay, so I'm not wearing my glasses, so I'm not able to see. Yeah, found it. Okay, So this is the presentation that we would be looking into. So this is how your leaf cabinet would look like. And where does this come under? What section it comes under, guys? It comes under what section? Botany. Okay, so when do we introduce this? When I said that I'm going to be introducing the parts of a plant, and then leaf is also one part of it. Only then I would start introducing all of that. So you need to have a complete plant. It has a root, it has to have a stem, it has to have branches, leaves, then a separate leaf. Okay. Now when your cabinet would just look like this for me. Can you see the chest of drawers there? Can you see the different kinds of leaves and leaves? Can you see there? Yeah. Now what do I do?
ಐಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತು
Child
ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡು ಗೋ
leaves. Okay. So gentle reminder, guys, please keep yourself muted when you're not talking to me. Okay, so what happens is like it breaks my conversation. So only request on that. Otherwise, keep it muted. Only when you want to talk, please unmute. Okay. So what we do over here is like let's bring some of the leaves from home and let the child compare with that particular leaf from the cabinet. Now the child is going to trace out using a metal that insect. Usha ma'am, artha aagta idya? ಇಲ್ಲ ಓಕೆ ಸೊ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಒಂದು ಡ್ರಾ ತರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ನೀವು ಯಾವಾಗಾದ್ರೂ ಎಲೆಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಯಾವುದೇ ಒಂದು ಎಲೆನ ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಬರ್ಬೇಕು ಮನೆಯಿಂದ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ಆಚೆಯಿಂದ ಆಗ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಬರ್ತೀರಾ ಇದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಎಲೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇರೋದು ನಿಮ್ ಮನೆಯಿಂದ ತಗೊಂಡ್ ಬಂದಿರೋದು ಇದು ಯಾವ ಶೇಪ್ಗೆ ಹೊಂದುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನಾವು ಈ ಕ್ಯಾಬಿನೆಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಯಾವುದು ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಒಂದ್ ಎಲೆ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲದಕ್ಕೂ ಇಟ್ಟು ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕು ಇಟ್ಟು ನೋಡಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಏನ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇದು ಇದ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಸೊ ಇವಾಗ ಎಲೆನ ಗಟ್ಟಿಯಾಗಿ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಟ್ರೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಕಿತ್ತೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಸೊ ನಾನು ಎಲೆನ್ ಟ್ರೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಈ ಇನ್ಸೆಟ್ ಅನ್ನ ಇಟ್ಟು ಟ್ರೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ಟ್ರೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಈ ಪ್ಯಾಟರ್ನ್ ಬರುತ್ತಾ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತಲ್ವಾ ಸೊ ಈಗ ಈ ಪ್ಯಾಟರ್ನ್ ಬಂತು ಸೊ ಇವಾಗ ನಾನು ನಿಜವಾದ ಎಲೆನ್ ತಗೊಂಡ್ ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಗೆರೆಗಳು ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಸೊ ಆ ಪ್ಯಾಟರ್ನ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಯಾವ ತರ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬರೆಸ್ಬೇಕು ಮಗು ಕೈಯಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡ್ರಾ ಮಾಡಿಸಿದೀವಲ್ವಾ ಸೊ ಅದನ್ನ ಆ ರೀತಿ ಡ್ರಾ ಮಾಡಿಸ್ಬೇಕು ಸೊ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ವಾಸ್ ಟ್ರೈಂಗ್ ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಉಷಾ ಇಸ್ ಯು ಬ್ರಿಂಗ್ ಅ ರಿಯಲ್ ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಇಟ್ ಬಿಕಮ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಮೀ ಟು ಟ್ರೇಸ್ ದ ರಿಯಲ್ ಫ್ಲವರ್ ಐ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಅ ಮ್ಯಾಚಿಂಗ್ ಫ್ಲವರ್ not flower leaf from the cabinet then I would trace that from my cabinet I would closely observe the smaller venular kind of structures from there. I would encourage the child to draw that on my drawing. So this is an extension to my art lesson, right? So I would be drawing the entire leaf outline. Now I could go ahead. ಈಗ ಬೇರೆ ಲೀಫ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ಉಷಾ ಅದನ್ನ ಮ್ಯಾಚ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಯಾವ್ದಕ್ ಹೊಂದುತ್ತೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಅದನ್ನ ಟ್ರೇಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಆ ಪ್ಯಾಟರ್ನ್ಸ್ ಯು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದೆನ್ ಯು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಡ್ರಾಯಿಂಗ್ So that becomes one of my extended art lesson. Just like how we had in the previous class, when I had my, what is that material? When I had those geometry cabinet, we had figures, right? Completely filled in, thick outline, thin outline. You will also have here in your presentation cards of thick outline. So when I say color in, color it full. When I say do a thick outline, do a thick outline. When I give you do a thin outline, you do a thin outline. So that becomes your second presentation. And you have to also teach the children about the names of those particular leaves. Now, what is the other thing? In case of names, if you don't want to introduce, it's always better you would introduce the part of that leaf. That this is leaf, this is the blade of the leaf, this is the apex of the leaf, this is the base of the leaf, whatever could be your parts of the plant, sorry, the leaf, you can actually introduce. So this, we call it as a 3-part card, or we also call this as nomenclature cards. When we are getting into language development in our language practicals, we would also see nomenclature cards. Anything that you want to go specific and you want to do part by part when you want to teach. And if it is related to your botany, zoology, geographical factors, we classify them into nomenclature cards. Okay. So this is basically for all of that. Now, what is your further exercises? Ask children to bring flowers, do a lot of extensive learning, do a matching card activity, learn the lesson plans, learn the names of those, the leaf colors, do a tracing exercises and all of that. Now, if the teacher does not know what is the meaning of this particular leaf type, there has to be a definition card. Always keep a definition card because children will ask, ma'am, what is abricordate? So you can always tell children, that is a kind of a leaf. But the shape of a leaf is like what? It's like a heart. You can always tell them. And you can also give them hints. Look at the stem, children. It's so pointed and it is attached to the heart. So you can give them these definitions. So that's how the child will also remember the names of the leaf cards. So you have to make these definition cards and keep it into your classes. So what does Dr. Maria Montessori say? She always says, learning through our senses is the best way to learn about the world. So there's nothing like, you have to work with this apparatus, that apparatus. Anything that you find around you in this world gives you a wage to work on your exploration. Only thing, you need to give some light. You need to encourage the child to see, to touch, to hear. But younger generations, we say, don't touch that, don't do this, don't see that, be here, don't jump, don't explore. We hear knows more than go and explore. That's could be the darkest side of it. Okay, I could say it is the most uneducated state. And to be very, very wrongly saying, most of the educated ones are saying this. Don't climb, you might fall. Don't run, you might fall. The child will be in a fear to even walk, to climb, to jump, to run. Right? So that's something Dr. Maria Montessori also never encourages, and even we don't want the children to do anything accordingly. Okay, so that's a beautiful learning on our geometric leaf cabinet. Okay, so over to the gallery mode. Everybody back onto the video. Congratulations for having completed the first larger chunk of visual sense materials. Okay, so what do? We quickly do a brain hug for that. Warm up your palms. Give your thumbs up. Put your thumbs down. Thumbs up. Thumbs down. Cross your arms. Open your fingers. Clasp them. Rotate it over. Bring it closer to your chest. And give yourself a big hug and say you did it. You can always kiss your brain because your brain was the one which was helping you to learn, to see, to perceive a lot of information from the past 3 days on the sensory education. So what is this called? It's called a brain kiss and a brain hug. Okay, so you're loving yourself, you're patting yourself, you're encouraging yourself, and you're being so much in love with yourself, and you're learning that you are an amazing human being who has learned more than 10 materials, 20 different activities. Just imagine how much would you be able to support all your class students. Every teacher, in case if you've been associated with 20 individual students, I have 20 participants, 20 into 20, 400 children will learn the conceptuals. So that's the smallest difference that you could do. And when you do it with so much of dedication, when the child learns it with so much of an interest, that's the pride moment for all of you, isn't it? Yes. So yes, kudos to all of you. A quick recap of all the materials that we learned. Quickly on the visual sense that we started. Yes.
What is the age group for leaf presentation?
4 years, 4.5 years. You can start. It's a gradual increase. If you have a good, smart child who is good enough at learning, go ahead. Nothing to work on it. Okay. So yes, to have a quick recapitulation of the visual sense, we started with red rods. Why do I use red rods? To introduce my big and small. Then we go with pink tower. Pink tower, I use it to introduce. Sorry, red rods is for long and short. Nobody is correcting me. Come on, find out the mistake. What you teach.
Sizes.
Big and small.
Pink cover we teach size. I go with my vocabulary large and small, or I can say big and small.
Small.
Okay, then I use my brown stairs. Why do I use for brown stairs? To introduce my thickness.
Thick and
I
thinner.
go with the concept of thick
Thinner.
and thin. Then I would go with tablets.
Color.
Knobless.
cylinders.
Knobless cylinders. Okay. Then I go with my knob and knobless. Right? So these are my cylinders, which I would again be talking about
Thick
the
and thin.
thickness. And then I would also talk about the
Long and
long or short. Next, what is the next material that we've explored about?
Color tablets.
Cabinet.
Tablets, yes. Then we started learning about a color
color
tablet.
tablet.
Again, we saw box 1, box 2, and
Two
box
box
3.
three.
Box 1 was a combination of primary, box 2 was secondary, box 3 was tertiary. Yes. Then we had our geometric cabinet.
Cabinets.
Yeah, so we had our cabinet tray. Yes.
Yes.
Draw.
Geometric cabinet. So how many drawers were there?
Six
Six.
draw.
Drawers were there. We worked on geometric
Six
cabinet.
draws.
Coming to the next one. What else we learned after this?
Binomial cube.
Triangles.
Binomial
Constructive
cube.
triangles. Yes. We learned about constructive
Constructive
triangles.
triangle.
Again, in constructive triangles, how many varieties we learned? We learned about a
Five.
rectangular box.
Rectangular.
Five.
Rectangular triangles. So rectangular triangle we used to make
rectangle
shapes.
box.
No. Wait. Rectangular triangle we used to introduce what shapes?
Square.
Yes, we introduced to make square, then parallelogram, then
Rhombus.
rhombus. Very good. So we used to only give this. Then after that, what's my next one? What's
Rectangular triangle.
remember? See, always remember there are two rectangular boxes. The first one will be colorful. So we have red, blue,
Blue
gray.
rectum.
The second
Blue
one is
rectangular.
completely blue. Okay. The second one is my blue
Blue
rectangular
rectangular
box. Then I would have what? Now go back to your
Triangular
triangles.
box.
triangular box.
I have my triangular box.
Triangular box.
Then I would have two hexagonal boxes.
Large
Large and small.
So I have a large hexagonal box and I have a
And
small
small
hexagonal box. Easy? So we have
Yes.
5 constructive triangles. Anytime if I ask you also, you should remember by concept. How many triangular boxes I have? 5.
Five.
What? The first one is rectangular.
Rectangular
second one
triangle.
is rectangular. So in rectangular, revise. They are colorful. Now, why do I use that? I want to help children to make different shapes through these triangles. But how does the material look like? The individual triangles will have a line on it. Correct? That's also a part of it. Then triangular box, then large hexagonal, then small hexagonal. All those things would be my constructive triangles. After that, what else we learned?
Decanomial.
Decanomial squares. Yes. So we learned again decanomial squares. Yes.
Binomial cube.
Decanomial squares we learned. Yes.
Binomial cube.
Binomial cube.
Binomial
Binomial cube.
cube, trinomial,
Trinomial cube.
and
Binomial
Leaf cabinet.
leaf cabinet. Okay. Have we left
Leaf
out
cabinet.
anything? Have we left out anything? Have we left out anything? Students, old students, have you left out anything? Can you give me the count of it? Can you give me the count of it?
Geometric card. Geometric card.
Geometric figures, yes, geometric
Card,
figures is what
card.
we have left out. Okay. Fine. Okay. So geometric figures, how it will be, how do I tell you is like, okay. Please note down the next one. Yes, we have left out something called as geometric figures. Please note down.
Ma'am, you did.
Yes, Baba.
You have done yesterday, ma'am.
Yes,
Geometric card.
it's completed.
Geometric set 1, set 2, set 3, which
No,
we had
that's
circled.
cards. That is card. That will come with geometric cabinet tray, geometric cabinet cards. geometric leaf cabinet tray, geometric leaf cabinet cards. That I don't consider that as a separate material itself. They come together. Some of the schools will have only trays, some of the schools will have only cards. Some of the schools will have both the materials. When you have both the materials, your material is considered to be complete. So the child will be able to get the differences. Geometric figures, we actually left it. Okay. So we have actually left because somebody picked up that. I could recollect that yes, we do have that material also. Okay. So let me quickly give you the details about the geometric figures. So what we generally have in this material is, it's a very simple one. So it will have 3 boxes. So note down what is the material. It will have 3 boxes. And the 3 sets of equilateral triangles will be there. 3 sets of squares will be there. 3 sets of circles will be there for you. Okay. So what you need to be working over here is like, when you have so many sets of materials, how do you exactly work on classes? When I have all of that in 3 sets, what do we do generally here? Do I construct something here? Or what do we do? What do we do?
We can construct.
What do we do, Baba?
We
For
can
example,
construct
so
different
how do I
figures.
tell? How do I tell? Because I don't have the material also to show it to you. Okay. See, the first set, I'm making it very simple to all of you. The first set is for triangles. Okay. The second set, whatever I have, maybe I can keep it for a square. The third set, what I have, I will keep it for circle. Okay. Now, again, this triangle, I'm being very specific for the kind of the triangle. It's going to be my equilateral triangle. What triangle? Equilateral triangle.
Equilateral triangle.
Now, again, here, I'm specific about the colors. What are the 3 colors that I'm going to be using? I'm going to use red equilateral triangle, blue equilateral triangle, yellow equilateral triangle. Okay. So, what do they vary now? What do they vary? Can they also vary in sizes? Definitely yes.
Dino,
1 centimeter to 10 centimeter. Okay. Shanta,
go.
you have to mute, bacha. Okay. So equilateral triangles will also vary. That means I can have 1 centimeter, 2 centimeter, 3 centimeter, 4 centimeter. So I can go. So likewise, I would have red equilateral triangles, blue equilateral triangles, yellow equilateral triangles ranging. Okay, you got me now? So you have 3. So for square also, you will have ranging from 1 centimeter to 10 centimeter. For circles also, you will have ranging from 1 centimeter to 10 centimeter. I'll just show you one of the recording which I have it for a square. Then it helps you to understand about what is this material. Okay. Now say, for example, I am picking this particular box. Now this box is related to my, say of my, what is this now? Now you tell me. It is of what box? It's a square box?
Yes.
Square box.
Square box. And what are the 3 colors that we have picked?
Red, blue, yellow.
Red, blue, and
Red, yellow, blue.
blue and yellow. So like this, I will have 4 boxes. One box, it will be triangles. Red triangles, blue triangles, yellow triangles. The other one is going to be my red circle, blue circle, and yellow circle. Okay. So after having all of this is what I will have to be working on the sizes. Now see the size differences. Now they are ranging again from 1 centimeter to 10 centimeter, I said. Now do you see a 1 centimeter square, 2 centimeter square, 3 centimeter square? Yes. That's so beautiful, right? So what is my activity that I have to do is up to you to decide. You want them to range in ascending order, descending order, or you want to construct one above the other. The first step for me is like to pick up everything, sort them, randomly. Now start looking at the sizes, then I start constructing. I pick the largest one, then I go for the next one. So that's what centimeter, 10 centimeter into 10. See, I start stacking up my squares. These are my geometric figures that I actually use it in my classes. Now, why do you think that I have to be working on these exercises? Because it gives me an understanding about the dimensions. It gives me a visual perception like how things can grow in sizes and how easy it is for me to pull up these exercises and visually relate everything. So it looks like a pink tower only for me, but I'm using different shapes to actually work. Can I do with the same other colors? Definitely yes. I should be able to do with this also. So this is also one of the material that we have it in our visual sense and we call it as geometric figures. Clear everyone? So it comes in 3 boxes. So you have to only think about the material, how to present, what it is. The remaining you do the demonstration. You understand why you will be able to work on it. Clear? Okay. So that's
What is the need of 3 colors here?
what is the need of 3 colors? Now, say for example, when I do an extension lesson, I can actually ask a child, can you please give me a red 3 centimeter square? Can you please give me a blue 5 centimeter square? So you will also be able to see when we do the adjective detective game in language, these skills are very important. Rather than only telling, give me the red, I am also defining the adjective to it, adding 3 centimeter. Okay, that defines that square better. I'm also giving them the color. Instead of saying square, 3 centimeter red square. Correct? So you got me there? So
Yeah,
just
ma'am.
instead of saying only square, I can say, give me red. I know this is square. Now I know it is a red square. Now I know it's a 3 centimeter red square. So square is what? Square is my noun. Red is what? It is defining me.
Adjective.
Adjective.
The red square. 3 centimeter, I'm adding more adjectives to be much more precise. So it's a 3 centimeter red square. 4 centimeter yellow square. So I should be able to give them the direction. So these we will always use when we're introducing grammar to children. So we keep reusing the same materials. It's just for them with the visual descriptions. You know, you got to give them a lot of hands-on exercises, no? So they have given different names. They have got into the materials. We have learned so many things out of that. That's all there is a part. Okay. Now over to the gallery mode, because it's almost like going to be 6. What was that one material that you liked today, which kept you hooked on? And you want to do that tomorrow, going back to your school, you want to learn that, or you want to see that material at least. What is that?
Ma'am, I like the squares, ma'am.
Cabinet, ma'am.
Ma'am, leaf cabinet.
Who likes the squares? One after the other. One after the other. We still have 5 more minutes. Yes, Lakshmi, you wanted to do
Leaf cabinet.
leaf cabinet. Okay, so you wanted to do the leaf cabinet exercise. Okay, good job. Okay, so yes.
Binomial cube, ma'am.
Please raise your virtual hand so I can't figure out. Yes, yes, Hamsa ma'am.
I want the squares, ma'am. Increasing the square 2 centimeter, 3 centimeter, 4 into 4. That one I
Geometric
love.
figures.
Yeah, see, she's picking up according to her class. She works with the grade 1 class. She wants to go on progression. Yes, yes, go. Yes, Lata ma'am. Lata, you got to unmute.
Leaf cabinet.
Leaf cabinet. Why Lata?
Means after it's a natural also, and this one matching with the cabinet, which help us the children to know about the leaves. Means what are the different kinds of leaves and the different sizes, textures. They can aware of everything, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. That's very nice. Yes. Anybody else?
Binomial cube, ma'am.
Binomial cube. Who wants to do binomial cube? Please raise a virtual hand.
Sonali.
Okay, Tulsi wants to say something. Yes, Tulsi.
Binomial cube, ma'am.
Binomial cube. Why, Tulsi?
It seems to be easy, but when we are doing that time, it will be difficult little, ma'am. Searching and placing and taking and this like that.
See, you have to be more specific. You can't say this and that. You got to be more specific. The base, the red base touching the right side, or the left side, which is red color, black color, blue color. You have to be more specific in your language, because when you say this and that, the child will also develop the same language skills.
Oh, okay,
So
ma'am.
otherwise, you don't talk. Just do show them the colors, and then you can actually be more specific. Try to speak in specific words, guys. Whatever are the keywords, please note it down, underline. If you want to do it as a whole word approach, rote learning, however you want to remember, memorize, please do that. Okay, get the right words. Yes. Shashita, yes, you want to say something?
Binomial cube, ma'am.
Everybody is on to binomial. Okay, that's nice. Okay, so
Even trinomial cubes also very nice, ma'am.
trinomial is also good. Every material is good.
Little bit challenging.
Okay, so I leave it to all you students. Each one of you might have a different love for a different material, because I know each one of you have a different curriculum that you're following. If at all, if there is a choice for you to integrate any of these materials into your class curriculum, you could actually do that. So we do have younger class students, like, Aparna, who's working with a very young class, and we also have Tulsi, who's working with the younger class students. So where do you feel, Aparna, that this material can fit into your class? Because you work with children who are toddlers, right? So can you think that any of these materials can fit into your classes? Aparna? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. This material I'm thinking little difficult to understand for this age children, actually.
Okay. So yeah, whatever we did today was a little level above for them. But yes, towards the end of the quarter, in case if you're able to help them to hold the knobs, let them place it, let them trace it, that will still be one of your pre-writing skill essential. And the child can bring in some of the leaves as a leaf activity. They should be able to categorize whether this is a small leaf or whether this is a big leaf. The child can, you can also do this natural activities into many things, like, big and small. You can categorize, you can separate them based on the colors and type also. Okay, so yes, so depending on that, you make up your lesson plans. Okay, so that's it for today. We had an amazing first day of August with our sensory lessons, and we have completed the first part of our exercises on visual sense exercise. So tomorrow we're going to meet at the same time, 4:30 IST. So until then, lots of love.
Excuse me,
God
ma'am.
bless you all.
Excuse me, ma'am. Whether we have to keep separate book for sensorial education, ma'am?
I know who is this?
Kavya.
Kavya, yes, so sorry, Kavya. Yeah. Yes. Every subject is a different book.
So 200 pages is enough, like 300 pages, ma'am.
Depends on your handwriting.
Okay, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, so I don't know what is your lining and spacing. You need to always work. See, in handwriting analysis, we have a beautiful saying. Okay, so for example, in case you write in a very congested manner, okay, so you write here, say this is your page, and you write like this: Divya is a great teacher. Okay, I'm writing myself. Okay, now did you see that I've not given any of the spaces also, right? So what we generally say in handwriting analysis is like, these people, they're very calculative on little things, very budgeting. So you will see in your handwriting also, if you turn back your pages and other things, you will not give much spaces. You want to put everything together. But there are people who write really big, give a lot of space, right? So what happens here? So much of wastage. So even in your real life, you will waste so many things unnecessarily. There's a lot of things which does connect to your personality also. Okay, so yeah, that's all about it. So turn your pages and see and calculate, Kavya, how many pages you want. You will be the best person. See, just for visual sense, we had close to 13 to 15 exercises. We still have 8 more senses, 7 more senses, right? So not these many materials, but a 300 page should be good, according to my experience, because after this also we will add sing-alongs, we will add dramatics, we're going to add in our regular diploma, we're going to add anything that supports to all of that, right? And even your assemblies, your presentations, your dioramas, okay? There'll be many things that you will still note down into the same book. So we would need at least a 300 page. Okay, yeah. Okay, so yeah, so sorry for the interruption. Thank you very much for joining me on first day of August. Lots of love. Okay, so lots of blessings to all of you. May God bless you and keep sharing this wonderful joy of learning to all your fellow students. On a count of 10 for today's attendance, we come on to our video mode. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cheers, everyone. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Have a great evening.
Thank you, ma'am.
See you. Take care.
ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, ma'am. Bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Thank
ma'am.
you, ma'am.
See you all.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye-bye. Take care. See you guys. Thank you. Bye, Sonali and Sonali's daughter. Thank you. MTP batch can hold on.